I want to bring up the man you came to see. Put your hands together, keep clapping for Mr. J.L. Cauvin.
Thanks for being here, everybody. Good times. It's raining. I thought about canceling it. That's sort of my commitment to comedy at this point. It's a little cloudy outside. Fuck it. But we're here. We're all here. So congratulations to all of us. I'm getting older. Everybody is, I think. But I'm turning 44 at the end of this month. Yeah. But that's like 72 in big years. Like, we age faster, I think. If you notice, there's not a ton of 80-year-old, 6'7", 6'8" people walking the earth. The Bill Russells and Kareem Abdul-Jabbars are very rare. Usually we just conk out around 59. So I don't know how much time I have left, but it's depressing getting older as a man. I saw an ad on the subway for MGM sports betting, and I said, why is Barry Manilow doing ads for MGM sports betting? And then I looked closer, it was Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time at the Copacabana. It was very, very upsetting. It must be upsetting. That's why his daughter is married to a golfer. They saw him and said, this guy can't take us. His tough days are behind him. So, I don't know. Getting older is weird. Not taking care of myself, that probably makes me feel older. But I noticed the other day a vein on my ankle, my left ankle, that I had never seen before. And it wasn't a vein of like, I'm ripped or I'm working hard. It was a vein that just said, okay, you're on the clock now. Like, you now have an expiration date, and it begins at your left ankle. We don't know where it ends, but now the end has begun. It is happening, that unsightly vein that disgusts you. My right ankle's still hot, though. Right ankle is still hot, but I don't know, maybe make lemonade out of lemons. I'll become like the Lizzo for middle-aged male ankle positivity. I don't know. But it was very, very disturbing to see that. I don't know. But I had shoulder surgery recently. That didn't help my mood. In the last year, let me put it this way. A year ago, I'd lost 60 pounds from the pandemic. I basically looked like a poor man's Jason Momoa. And then I had knee surgery and 2 shoulder surgeries, and now I don't look like that. Shoulder surgery is the worst, folks, because I had 1 surgery, and then I had a second surgery because they fucked up the first surgery. That wasn't the plan. And then I had to basically just keep my arm like this for like 6 weeks, like a gay T-Rex. I just had to be locked in. And I developed something called frozen shoulder, which is not fun. I couldn't move my arm. I'm going to physical therapy now, but I remember the day a few weeks ago when I finally opened my armpit for the first time in like what felt like months. And the smell. Powerful. I didn't know the body was capable of that level of musk. Like, I almost passed out in the shower. I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm not saying it was too musky, but when I opened it up, it said to me, you know, I was a doctor in my home country. So I was like, wow, that is musky. That's an incredible level of musk. But now, you know, the problem is I can't really do anything now. Mentally, I'm weak, and now physically, I'm weak, so I can't really do anything for exercise. Like, my pecs were the first thing to go. Now they just look like sort of like orangutan titties from a nature video. Right? Like, it's like you expect David, like Richard or David Attenborough to be like narrating me sitting on my couch. As you can see, the depressed comedian can't move, so his orangutan breasts hang over his gut that is growing from all his snacking and Netflix watching. Because like my back and my legs are the last to go. My pecs I have to maintain. As soon as I can work out, I'm just like it's terrible. And that just doesn't help me as I get older and see Wayne Gretzky aging poorly too. Just two goats aging poorly. It's sad. But I will say this, like the oxy was great. That was the one benefit of shoulder surgery. The oxy was wonderful. I get it, white trash. I get it now. I can see the appeal to just streaming things all day, high on heroin, basically. It is relaxing. But I can only enjoy that for a short period of time because on the second day after surgery, which by the way is the day the doctor allows for double dosage, so this is the best high I'm ever going to have. And I couldn't walk my dog Cookie. Okay, couldn't walk her because once again, right here. So girlfriend had to walk Cookie. So girlfriend takes Cookie out. Cookie's pleased. And then I get a phone call. This is the day after surgery, folks. I get a phone call from the girlfriend. This rarely happens. I usually don't get fecal or urine updates. So I figured either something amazing has happened or something horrible has happened. Something horrible happened. I get a phone call saying, you have to come downstairs right now. A car just ran over Cookie's leg. Yeah. And I said, well, there goes that oxy high. So I get up and I hobble down to the lobby and I see what can only be described as the conclusion of Reservoir Dogs. And not just because a dog was involved, but there was a lot of blood. My dog is 45 pounds. I didn't know she had that much blood in her. And she's just there and a lot of people are attending to her. And Cookie's kind of shivering and looking at me with this look that said, you were supposed to protect me. Where were you? And I was like, Cookie. But she's not thinking straight at the time, so she's not understanding that. She just sees a deep betrayal by her owner. But we eventually got Cookie to the animal hospital where they charged an exorbitant amount of money. You know, they really rack up those additional, you don't know what the fuck is going on, but you're emotionally distraught surcharges. So after I paid a month's rent to heal Cookie, we left. And girlfriend was obviously traumatized, so I didn't get into it that night, but I got the full story a little later. And what actually happened was, we live in New Jersey. We used to live in New York. We failed. We moved to Jersey. And people in Jersey, they drive with a certain resentment towards pedestrians. Like if you beat a car into the crosswalk when they want to turn quickly to a red light, they get very mad. So girlfriend was walking with Cookie, and an SUV was turning. And my girlfriend did the one thing she shouldn't have done. She just went. Now, my girlfriend is white, and apparently she thought that was a superpower. So she turned our block into a modern-day Tiananmen Square. Now, I would make that analogy even if the woman driving wasn't Asian, but she was. And then we had that age-old question. Which wins? The immovable Karen or the unstoppable stereotype? And we learned that day that the SUV with the Asian woman texting wins. Now, only one person in this whole equation knew what was up, and that was Cookie, who did the... But unfortunately, in her desire to back it up for safety, the juvenile remix, she got her paw right by the tire. Tire got all over her paw. So, very sad, very upsetting. But Cookie's 100% now. Yeah, she's 100% healed. It's pretty incredible. She's very tough. She was adopted after she was found abandoned in a Kentucky trailer park, so she's made of tough stuff. Probably racist, but she is tough. Very tough. I've seen her sniffing around my oxy, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's just cultural. So, but now I'm actually looking into seeing if her vet can fix my shoulder, because it's not doing well. So. But a lot of bad health news in my world last year. My mom, well, this is actually good health news. It started as bad health news. My mom beat cancer for the second time. Thank you. Thank you. I already got her to sign a HIPAA waiver before this set, so we're all good. But yeah, she beat cancer for the second time. The first time she had it, it was stage 1, and it was I was in law school at the time. She didn't even tell me about it until after she'd had the surgery and was done, because she didn't want to negatively impact my studies. But the joke's on her. I did horribly in law school anyway. And, but the second time was very scary. It was like very aggressive breast cancer. So we were actually very scared. So on top of obviously seeing the oncologist, we got her on a regimen of Joe Rogan podcasts. So those are grueling. Those are 3-hour sessions every day. Those are tough. At one point, she called me up crying, going, "I just don't think I can listen to any more libertarians, bitch." And I said, "Mom, you have to. It's too important." And she did. She beat it. She beat the pants off of it. So that was great. Great news. But it got me thinking about just the role of the breast in the medical profession, because I don't know if any body part has more range than the breast. You got doctors like the ones that helped my mom, heal women during a time of need. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have doctors who are like, "Yeah, but can I make porn stars have bigger tits?" Just saying, it's a lot of range. I just don't know. When do you break bad during medical school? Right? Year 3, you're like, "Yeah, but after the cancer, can we make them bigger?" Sir, Jersey Shore Medical School is a reputable institution of higher learning. And the answer is yes. I mean, I don't see it with other body parts. That's my point. It would be weird with other body parts, right? Like if you're one of these doctors that goes abroad to fix cleft palates, and you say to the little girl in Asia, you're like, "Now you've got your smile back. But if you want to make the fellas real happy, how about we plump those lips up into some DSLs?" No? Okay. Just a thought. While I'm here, I'm going back to my penthouse apartment soon. So, in other words, I know that's weird. That's what I'm saying. It would be weird if other body parts had that range, but they don't. The breast is unique. Okay. Oh, I'm parched. It's all the drugs I'm on. But yes, I know that I have some fans here. Some people who maybe want. No, it's okay. It sounds worse when you clap, because then the people listening and watching go, "Oh, 19 fans, perfect." He does seem like this is a mistake. But throughout my career, which is coming up on 20 years in June. 20 years, 19 fans. Not a great ratio. But I've thought about quitting comedy a lot, because my career has been very up and down throughout. Like something good will happen for me, and then like 4 years of nothing. It's kind of like the Olympics. But like one of those athletes who doesn't get any endorsements in between, just like, I show up for bobsledding every 4 years, nobody knows who I am, and then I go back to my day job. That's kind of my comedy career has been that kind of weird Olympic struggle, but I really considered quitting, and then I had this kind of big moment during the pandemic, and I said, "Okay, I'm back in. We're all in on comedy." Like I'd had this big run, but then I could see the writing was on the wall. That I was like, okay, things are starting to regress to the mean again. So maybe let's do one more special and see if something comes of that. And because here's the thing, I basically, as many of you know, I got sort of mildly internet famous for impressions, and I wanted to convert that. Thanks, one person. I wanted to convert that into a broader career in comedy, because I've been doing stand-up for so many years. And like I look to somebody like Mark Wahlberg as sort of an inspiration. Because Mark Wahlberg, some of you may not know, he's now an A-list actor, but in 1991, he was just a hate crime committing teenager from Boston, leading a bad rap group called the Funky Bunch. And yet 15 years later, he was an Oscar-nominated actor. And I thought, that's what I want. I want just to go from an impersonator comedian to a slightly more well-known, well-rounded comedian. That's at best an eighth of a Wahlberg. That's not too heavy a lift for a talent rep to pull, but it wasn't happening. So I said, okay, I've got this special that I'm ready to rip. It's a great hour. And I did something that a lot of comedians don't do. I prayed on it. That's right, some artists make deals with the devil, folks. I'm not here to rat any of them out. I don't snitch. But they do it. But I decided I answer to a higher power. I'm going to make a deal with the Lord. So before that special taping in October of 2021, I said a prayer and I said, God, here's the deal. If I should keep doing comedy, can this special be kick-ass? And if you want me to do something else with my life, like if a camera fucks up, I'll take the hint and move on. So I do the show. It's the greatest single show of my life, until tonight, of course. It's the greatest single show of my life. And I get a call the next day from the people producing it, and they say, JL, just wanted to put your mind at ease. It looks great. It sounds great. Incredible work, dude. And I was like, yes, Lord. And then I just relaxed. I went on a 3-month tour around the country, saw a dozen fans in a dozen states. I just felt like $1 million. Just crushing it, feeling great. And then I get a call. I get a phone call. 1 week left. I'm out in California, 1 week left. I get a call, messages from the people who are going to try and sell it. And they're like, actually, after looking at the footage, the main camera is way too wobbly. We're going to have to reshoot it. Now, I don't know all the technical jargon in this business, but I think main camera is an important one. So I was kind of shell-shocked. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, you said a camera messed up? All right. Huh. And then I remembered my conversation with the Lord. And I'd only given him one option. I didn't give him a laundry list of things or leave it open-ended. I didn't say, yeah, if something messes up, God, we'll see what happens. I said camera. I said, a camera. And a camera fucked up. And I just sat there pondering that, and I said, religion's bullshit, no way, whatever. So we reshot it, crushed it again. 2 months later, find out main camera messed up again. Yeah, now I'm starting to worry a little bit. Feels a little suspicious, I was like, Lord, send me a sign. But not that sign. Not the exact sign I requested twice. Not that. Obviously, I didn't mean that specifically, and for you to do it twice in a row, inexplicably. So then I just kept doing comedy. We were able to salvage enough footage from the other two cameras from that later shoot, apparently against the will of the Lord. So we've got a special that's in the can right now. And so then I resumed touring. And I had this shoulder surgery. My doctor informed me, trust me, this is easy peasy. And 3 weeks later, we were under the knife again. And he said, I've done this procedure 200 times. First time it's ever come loose. And because of that, I had to cancel several gigs. So at this point, I'm sort of going, okay, maybe God is speaking. I mean, I think I'm special. I just don't know if I'm that special, because it would be kind of weird for God to start talking with this level of specificity again. This is Old Testament level communication, right? It's been about 3,000 years since God had this much of a direct chat with any human being. I'd like to think it's me, but I don't think it is. So I say that as a warning before the show continues, that you all are probably participating in an abomination against God just by being here. So I have to, for legal reasons, I have to share that. But and I don't quit things easily. That's the thing. That's why I've held on so long with comedy, because I got a lesson in quitting early, because we all know that, right? Like quitters never win, or some bullshit we middle class and poor people tell themselves so they can keep working hard for rich people. That's the thing I've always realized. Karma is a middle class problem. Poor people and middle class are like, karma's a bitch. And rich people are like, oh, karma's my escort. I fuck her behind my wife's back. I don't worry about karma the way you poor people do. But we're done, right? Don't quit. You can't quit. You can't quit. Sometimes quitting's okay. Sometimes quitting is the answer. But I remember when I got that lesson the hard way. I loved basketball as a kid. I was a pretty good high school player. I rode the bench for a good college team. So, but in high school, sophomore year, I was very immature. Not like now. I was a very immature, lanky young man, and I hated my coach. And I hated the fact that I was on varsity. Much like Michael Jordan, I too deserved to be on varsity as a sophomore. So with 4 games left in my junior varsity season, I quit. I just left my gym bag on my coach's desk like a badass. And that was it. And then I went junior year to go for varsity. Now, here's the thing I'm not telling you. The varsity coach was the dad of the JV coach. So I think they talked. And even though I would have started junior year, I got cut. So I had to be in co-ed gym class hoops, arguably the best player in the school, playing co-ed gym class basketball. So did it feel great dropping 40 every period on short, busty Jewish chicks? Yes. It felt great. I felt like it was total dominance. They called me the Gentile Mamba. But even though that's fun, it was kind of humiliating in a weird way. And from that moment on, I never quit anything. I wanted to quit basketball in college, didn't quit. Have wanted to quit comedy for many years, won't do it. It's been burned into me. I always harken back to like dunking on some 5'1" Jewish chick and going, that's not how I want to win. That's not how I want to. And so I keep going. But obviously, as you hear my set so far, you know that religion's very important to me. And I got to speak up. I'm Catholic, for those of you that don't know. I have some ideas for the Catholic Church, though. I do think that we got to let priests get married at this point. We got to just let married people become priests and let priests marry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Father. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think we should. I think we should, because we're not getting the homegrown talent anymore in the Catholic Church. That's... Now, I don't mind importing priests, okay? I'd prefer priests be American the way Jesus intended, but if they can't be... But I'm willing to, like, if they can't be, it's still better than nothing. But it's a hard sell, I feel like, in 2023 to get, like, red-blooded American men to just be like, how'd you like to go dry till you die? That's our new recruiting phrase. What do you think? It's tough when every other third grade teacher has an OnlyFans page to just tell a 25-year-old man, how'd you like to never use your dick ever? Sound good? So we go abroad. We you know, like God's baseball scouts. We go abroad looking for talent, and we end up in developing nations often because it's a little easier sell, right? You know, because you tell a guy in America, like, how'd you like... to give up pussy forever. I don't know. What? For the Lord. Oh, the Lord? Okay, now we're talking. Why'd you bury the lead? But you go to another country, maybe that's not doing so well, you see a guy homeless and starving, and you're like, hey, pardon the pun, but I've got a real devil's bargain for you. Had you like 3 squares a day, shelter, and a flock. All you gotta do is give up puss forever. Well, as you can see, I'm not scoring too high in that department given my current predicament. So sure, I'll come to America and see about this flock business. And that's how you get a priesthood that looks like a slightly more celibate tech support. And it's okay. It's okay. No judgment. But I'm just saying, you might inspire more confidence if you had like some more local talent in the priesthood. And I think allowing priests to be married or get married would increase that. The only people I'd feel bad for at that point, of course, are the OG priests, who did it the hard way. Because that's going to be tough in the rectory. Your 80-year-old Father Murphy just walking around, I have never known the touch of a woman. And then in comes young, ripped Father Pat with his hot wife he met in college, shacking up next door in the rectory, just going to fucktown, right next door to Father Murphy. Father Murphy's on his arthritic knees watching his crucifix bang against the wall, going, this can't be right! Meanwhile, Father Pat's going down like, no, it's okay, Father Murphy, the Pope says we can fuck! That's who I'd feel bad for at that point, The ones who did it the hard way, the OGs. That'd be uncomfortable, I think. But now, I normally don't do a lot of politics in my act, but I just wanted to speak on something, because a lot of people think with my passionate practice of Catholicism that I'm like some sort of conservative monster. But I'm actually not. I skew left, okay? And I gotta say, I'm tired of, and don't clap. This is an instruction. Do not clap during this bit. It'll kill me. But I, as a Democrat, turning it off, no thanks, he got woke. I kind of hate the fact that Democrats a lot of the time sort of apologize or like weaker in their defense of being Democrats than like Republicans apologize for fucking nothing. You never hear them ever go like, yeah, I know we're not perfect, but we got some good ideas. And they're like, we fucking rock. We got chicks and guns. Fuck off. That's every Republican, no matter what they're doing. Whereas Democrats are, I know we're not perfect. I would prefer that. It's like, shut up. We're not in those times right now. I don't think we need like hedging right now. Because I feel like it's an imbalance right now. This isn't the Republican Party of like, whenever they were saying Lincoln, but it's different now. And I feel like when I watch the two parties and the way that the country treats them, I feel like Democrats are like America's overworked single mom, and we're like the dickhead kid. We're like, fuck you, Mom, you're so weak. You're so weak. And Democrats are like, what do you want me to do? I'm trying. I'm trying to give you health care and homeschool you and keep you safe. It's fucking hard. Your dad isn't around. He's not doing shit. It's like, that's why Dad left, because you're always fucking bitching. Just get it done. And meanwhile, Republicans are the deadbeat dad that show up every 4 years at an election and walk in and like, hey, son, how'd you like to go to a game, shoot a gun, and scream the N-word? Hell yeah, Dad! That's why you rock! Fuck you, Mom! That's why I don't want to be with you. I'm going to the game with Dad! And we walk like fucking idiots with Dad to the game. We sit down, Dad pops out a 20, he's like, that's for you, son. And it's like, whoa, Dad, Mom never just hands me money. You rock. Then the fourth inning, Dad's like, actually, I'm gonna need that 20 back. It's like, well, thanks, Dad. At least you let me feel like I was rich for a few minutes. That was cool. And then Dad leaves and goes and fucks a concession stand worker and abandons the kid at the game. It's the ninth inning, and America's walking around like, where's Dad? What the fuck, Dad? I'm alone. I don't know what to do. Fine, I'll call Mom, fucking loser. Mom! Dad left me at the game. And Mom's like, I'll be there at 5. Gets in her car, hits some traffic, shows up at 5:30. Kid's like, you're fucking late, you liar! God, you suck! I hate you, Mom. That's what we are, basically. That's what the two parties are, and it's like this idea of, I told you not to clap, and you directly disobeyed an order. Unbelievable. And then people don't read in this country. I think there are. That's the other thing I kind of hate with a lot of the book banning and a lot of the like, well, we don't approve of this, we don't approve of that. And it's really one side really doing the book issues. And I think more people in this country need to read. But the problem is half the country doesn't like to read and the other half doesn't want you to read. So we end up stupid. Which is why I think Netflix, the same way like car companies started making tanks during World War II, I feel like Netflix needs to start harnessing their power for good and just start doing true crime series that will subtly teach people history. right? Like if you just turn on Netflix and it's like, our new true crime series, America. Ooh, wow, I always thought America was a good guy. This is interesting. Well, I wonder what happens. Oh, wow, I really liked episode 4 about redlining. I had no fucking idea. That was interesting. My favorite was episode 3, where did you know black people were excluded from the New Deal? That's crazy. Whoa. And then you just get to the 10th episode, and it's just angry white dudes crawling all over the Capitol, and everybody's like, oh my God, it was white people all along. Wow, who knew? And then people will be like, yeah, I really got into history after they just started putting it into true crime form. As long as I don't have to read anything, I'm an American. I hate that shit. But yeah, a lot of people cling to Trump. It used to be Obama got in trouble because he said certain people cling to their guns and their religion, but now they're just clinging to Trump. Like I've always said, Trump is like the stripper pole for broken white men. He just makes them feel sexy. I know I'm fucked up, but when I'm on that pole, when I just cling to Trump's false masculinity, it just makes me feel like more of a man, you know? But I don't know. I saw this all coming. That's the thing. I feel like I'm good at connecting the dots in American history. I was a history major, so sorry to brag, but just means I wasn't good at math or science. That's all. I was scared off of political science because it had science in the title. I was like, what's left? History? Got it. But no, because I think Tiger Woods sort of predicted where this country was going, because this country likes to think very highly of itself at moments of change, but we take like 2 steps forward and then like 9 steps back temporarily. And I remember with Tiger Woods, kind of hinted at where we were going as a country, but through the microcosm of golf. Because when Tiger Woods showed up, everybody was like, oh my God, this young Asian black man is going to change the face of golf. And he was obviously an incredible golfer. And people were like, you know, brown people and black people and other people will start playing golf, and you're going to see a different game. It's exposing it to so many more people. And all those different communities other than white just watched golf and were like, nope, still boring. We're not interested in changing shit. But you know who did notice? White people. They noticed Tiger. And that's why the game now, it was just, the generation of stars now are just young kids growing up when Tiger was at his peak with parents going, Brooks, you're going to have to take back daddy's game. Tyler, Justin, Kyle, Rory, get the fuck in here. There's a black stealing our sport. That's what happened. That's why golf just looks the exact same again. It's still just Tiger out there, like as an old man. Like my back hurts, but I'm still the only motherfucker interested in golf that doesn't look like Brooks over here. But the fucked up thing about it is all these guys borrowed Tiger's technique. They were like, we're gonna work, Tiger's my hero, but my dad fucking hates him, so I'm gonna practice and work out like Tiger and get inspired by Tiger and then fucking end his career to make my pops happy. That's real tough if you're Tiger. Just watching these kids who are like, I'm a big fan, but sorry, I gotta fuck you up. My dad was really pissed when you won the Masters. And I just felt like that was America was fooling itself with Tiger Woods the same way we fooled ourselves with Obama. We had Obama, we were like, oh my God, we did it. We did it, America. We did it. We elected a half-white guy. Raised by his white grandparents in Hawaii, who went to Harvard Law School. My God, are we advanced? I mean, what do you want? We're not going to elect a guy with 2 black parents who went to Cornell. We're not fucking savages, but we are a better nation now. Ow, I think I hurt my arm patting myself on the back. America, we did it. And then what happened after him? The fucking worst. We were like, we need to correct this progress by going back 100 years. That's how we got Trump. So you guys have to be careful of the boop boop or the boop boop. So that's, I don't know. But people are doing good work in this country. Okay, I don't want to be one of those left-wing people who's just like, America's terrible. There are people doing good work. The Cheesecake Factory. Now, I'm obviously a big Cheesecake Factory fan because I support all our factory workers in this country. I'm just blue collar like that. And it's funny, we're never going to outsource the Cheesecake Factory. Diabetes stays home. We're never going to outsource losing feet due to 5,000 calorie slices of cheesecake. We are never going to give that up, Rick Astley. But I love what the Cheesecake Factory does because they're subtle about it. They're subtle. They're a bipartisan they appear bipartisan. A lot of people love the 400-page menu, the giant slices of cheesecake, the like Roman Colosseum ambiance, which is weird. But when you sit down at the Cheesecake Factory, they start you off with bread. And in that bread basket are two very different types of bread. One is a giant, delicious, warm, tasty Idris Elba loaf of bread. And they could just leave it at that. That could be their bread. Outback Steakhouse just brings you some nice brown bread. They don't try to mix it up. They just bring you the goods. Cheesecake Factory, brown bread, it's their second most famous thing after cheesecake. And I'd argue it's competing with it. But right next to it is always a cold, crusty, stale piece of Kid Rock bread. And I just think that's Cheesecake Factory being very slick with people, right? Like they're subliminally, like, forget schools. I'm surprised like Ron DeSantis hasn't banned the Cheesecake Factory yet. Like, your bread baskets are making, excuse me, shut up. Your bread baskets are making our white kids feel inferior. But that's what they're doing, because you just sit there and you go, why? Like, you get mad after a while at the white bread. You're like, what the fuck is this old, useless white bread? Get with the times, white bread. It's a brown bread world now. You're useless. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know. It's not a Larry Bird Magic Johnson bread pairing, is what I'm saying. It's very, very disproportionate. But I don't often talk about this, but I am tall. And it's true. A very tall person. I've always been tall, guys. And I think sometimes I can be off-putting to people. I think people think I'm talking down to them just because I'm literally talking down to them. Like, I think people get the idea that I'm talking down to them, but it's like, no, it's just my perspective, right? I mean, a lot of time I am talking down to them, but not always. But I think that started when you're tall. Like, I wasn't a growth spurt tall. I was just tall. 10 pounds, 7 ounces at birth. Yeah, C-section, don't worry. And I remember my mom said when I was in the nursery, I looked like a 1-month-old compared to every other baby. And also C-section, I didn't have a fucked up cone head either. I just looked like a perfect brown Puerto Rican baby. Big ass, big poppy. And he's Dominican, but I was just saying, yeah, anyway. Don't cancel me. You're conflating Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and that's not acceptable. But I've always been tall. I was just always tall. Every class photo, from kindergarten to 12th grade, 13-0. No one was ever back row middle except for me. Kids would come in after a summer of a growth spurt walking tall, and I'd just be like, nope. Still taller. Just linear growth for 13 years. Like every class photo, just like, it looked like I was a dick with very wide balls. That's just every single class photo I'm in for 13 years. Like, but I think being tall for so long, you can't help but maybe get a little toxic masculinity or something. Because especially when you're a kid. As an adult, all the studies say we get paid more, whatever more. But as a kid, it's almost like a skill. Height is treated like a skill. You know, kids would be like, JL's tall. And I'd be like, yes, I am. I did that. But it gets you a little arrogant when you're treated like that. Like a G-list celebrity just for being taller than everybody else. And that got me in trouble because when I was 9, when I was 8, I was 5'2". My teacher, 5'1". How humiliating. How do you live with yourself when an 8-year-old is looking down at you, holding a Knight Rider lunchbox? That's weird. But the next year, I grew some more, and my mom looked at me, and she was the president of our building co-op. So she had a flyer that had to go under everybody's door, 126 apartments, and she looked at me and said, "Can you throw these under everybody's door?" And I said, "Yeah, I can. I'm a tall boy." So I took them, walked through the building, got to the 9th floor, slid one under a door, turned to walk to the elevator, door opened. Woman says to me, "Excuse me, I think there's someone in my apartment. Can you help me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a tall boy." And I was taller than her. I was still growing. I was like 5'3.5". She was like 5'2". So I was like, this person can't protect themselves. Woman. And so I walked over to her apartment. Now I had a momentary thought of like, wait a second. Should I do this? And I said, fuck that. That's short boy thinking. So I walked right into the apartment. Door closed. Immediately thought, nope, shouldn't be here. Woman disappears. So I was like, wow. And she wasn't a total stranger, just to be clear. Her husband owned the local candy store. So I was familiar with her. And correct me if I'm wrong, when has an adult with access to candy ever led children astray? So I go in. She disappears. I check down one hallway. All clear. Make my way down to the master bedroom. Primary bedroom. Thank God. You were going to let me get away with that. New York City, apparently not so progressive. You were going to let me get away with master bedroom. After the show, please do the work, folks, okay? Read up, do the work. So I made my way to the primary bedroom. Still don't see anybody. At this point, SEAL Team 9-year-old is getting worried. And I look up on a TV. I'm in the main bedroom, and I look up on a big TV screen right there. And this changed everything. I look and I go, oh boy. Big screen. Now, I'm going to tell you what I saw in the words that I thought because I didn't know what this was called. But I see on that screen a woman putting her mouth on a man's penis. And I went, and turned around and ran out of the apartment. But I still checked in. I said, "Nobody's here, ma'am," and left. So I did my due diligence. And I got out of there, and I feel like that could end up a lot. You really thought that was going to be something really bad, I'm sure, because I did too. But it didn't. Nothing happened. Why? Because I was a tall boy. I thought you were listening. Nothing was going to happen to me. But no, it obviously was very creepy. And there was residual trauma. Obviously, a lot of worse things could happen. But there was still trauma just from that. Because ever since that day, I have hated sucking dick. Yeah, some things stick with you, folks. I could have been a bisexual king, instead reluctant heterosexual. So that's tough. That's a tough thing to deal with. But as a person of height, I feel like I don't like saying tall that much because I'm not a Starbucks beverage. But as a heighted person, I feel like it's my responsibility as a member of the community to issue a warning to the world. Barron Trump, folks. Barron Trump. The guy's going to be gigantic. He's already like 7'4". He's 16 years old. It's going to be scary. Like, I think he's going to end up being a 9-foot Trump. Like, we're talking Game of Thrones dimensions here. And I think we've all seen the damage a 6'3" Trump can do. It's pretty extensive. Can you imagine if you made that 9 feet tall? No. Some of you are out there going, I don't think it's right to make fun of kids. I agree. I'm not making fun of kids. I would never do that. I don't think it's right. But hypothetically, the kid's going to be a piece of shit, right? I mean, like I'm just saying that because it's like, I have eyes and a brain. Like I see what, I just think it's unlikely. It's unlikely that he ends up all right. You know, and I feel like as a member of the tall community, I'm going to say, that's our word, I'm going to say it. I think somebody's in for a world of hurt with that kid. And I think the world needs to be warned. Because, I mean, you look at his parents. I think the best thing working for him is that his father probably doesn't even know he exists. So that's actually addition by subtraction. at that point. But then we're left with his mom. His mom is like our last line of defense before this guy goes Game of Thrones on a college campus. And she's an icy prostitute from Europe. I just don't know that they're known for their maternal instincts or their... I don't know. I feel like having a contractually obligated child with Donald Trump doesn't necessarily reek of great mom. But I don't know. I'm saying this all hypothetically. Obviously, I'm going to wait till Barron's 18 before I really lay into him when it's appropriate and proper. Like how creepy old men had a countdown clock for the Olsen twins back in the day. Like, when are they turning 18? And I don't know why we had that, because by the time they were 25, they looked like elderly meerkats. So I don't know why all the hype. Bad call, creepy dudes from the 90s. So I don't know. I worry. I worry about a 9-foot Trump roaming a college campus one of these days. And you're going to be at like an orientation for your daughter, and you're just like, okay, honey, I hope you love it here. And then you're going to see a shadow looming over. And like Jurassic Park type thundering steps, like your water will start shaking, and you look around and it's like, oh my God, it's a 9-foot Trump. He got in here? Yeah, his dad accidentally bought him admissions into here. He thought it was a porn star payment, but it was in fact for Brown University. He thought it was for Brown Town, where he had gone, but in fact, it was a university. Melania slipped it in there, and he signed it. But yeah, that would be, if you're there, you're going to be like, okay, I know I stood or sat with stony silence for that comedian a couple of years ago because I condemned his attack on a youth. But now that I see him on this campus, take these brass knuckles and this mace, and God forbid if you're alone in a room with him, don't hesitate to use them. He's a 9-foot Trump. And I now have to punch out an email of apology to that comedian who I moaned at during his show. Because I thought he should adhere to ironclad rules about mocking children, but he had the courage to violate that practice, to warn us. But I mean, you don't have to enjoy that, but it's like, he's gonna be terrible. I just don't know how terrible. I hope not too terrible. I hope a little terrible where it's funny, but not too terrible where it's like, well, now I have to take this bit off the internet. It was like too close to the truth. So, I don't know. But are we on TikTok here? We're all on TikTok, I hope. Liar. We're all on TikTok. I hate TikTok. I do. I just feel like social media, I feel like TikTok is taking a little too much heat, whereas it's really all social media. Social media is turning everybody into like a brand. Everybody now has to be a brand. I feel like if Walter Cronkite were alive today, he'd be like, that's the way it was, bitches. And like, he'd trademark that and sell t-shirts with it. Like, nobody can just do their job. You have to do other things, make content. I don't know. I hate the word content. I don't even a joke about that. I just fucking hate the word. I once heard a porn star say like, "Oh, my content." It's like, you suck dick on video. I don't know if we call that content. We don't have to polish that one up. I think we can just say what you do. But I don't know. I remember I thought to myself, there was a guy, Jim Redmond, I think was his name, but he passed away late last year. If you don't remember the name, he was the dad at the '92 Olympics who like scooped up his son who got injured running a race and like helped his son around the track to the finish. It was like one of the most beautiful moments in Olympic history. And I just thought we'd never have that today. I feel like new parents and the next generation of parents would just be like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. God, I hope I have a kid one day who gets horribly injured during their dream race so that I can get out there and make content for my awesome parenting Patreon page. God, I hope that's so... And that guy was lucky. that NBC was filming it, because he didn't come out there with a camera or anything. He just like grabbed his son. How did he know NBC was going to film it and make content? Crazy. Unbelievable. But I just think we're in this weird phase now where like I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. I think I have, on the scale of artistic integrity in the world of entertainment, I'm like a 10 out of 10. Like I will never sell out. Like I actually told the venue tonight, cap attendance is 70%. This was by design. This wasn't an act. This was by design. I said cap it at 70% because the last thing I want is for an audience to leave and start chirping and saying, yeah, JL's sold out show. And then somebody over here's like, JL sold out? Oh no. So just to be safe, cap it at 70%. So thank you, Triad. Thank you for sticking with that. But I just feel like we're in this weird time where there is no integrity anymore. There's some, but not a lot, you know? Because I think to myself, I don't know. I guess I got accused of selling out today. That's not true. Because I signed up for Elon Musk's $8 Twitter. Yeah, and some people got very mad at me on Twitter, of all places. So they were on Twitter yelling at me for paying $8 on Twitter, which I thought was interesting. I was like, where's the line there? Because I used to pay $3 for a Twitter service before Elon Musk took over. Now I pay $8. So that Abraham Lincoln is the difference between, I guess, integrity and losing 6 miserable followers. So, but yeah, I signed up for it because I view it as a business expense. I'm not trying to like high five Elon. I'm just like, yeah, I need this to reach people, and I'm willing to pay $8. I don't mean to brag, but I do have it like that. But I have a weird relationship with my fans, as you can imagine. It's kind of a reverse Selena, to be honest. I don't think any of my fans will ever kill me, but I'll probably show up to one of their houses one day and go, stop fucking punching up my tweets. Your jokes are horrible. This is the last warning, ma'am. Who's Selena? There's at least somebody in here going, I don't know who that is. Is that Jennifer Lopez? But no, I've seen it now because we're in this age now where everything is monetizable. Everything is merch or monetizable, or getting money is like the only thing that matters. I get kind of sad when I see like Sir Mix-a-Lot doing like potato chip commercials or something. If you don't know who he's saying, he's a one-hit wonder, Baby Got Back. And then Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac, he's doing like Frito-Lay commercials. And part of me is like, this is gross, but at the same time, I'm like, you're one-hit wonders. Get your money. It's fine. You're maybe not super integral to the artistic fabric of history. But then I see other artists kind of up the chain doing shit, like weird shit. Like the one that really bothered me was when I saw Snoop Dogg several years ago. Now he does a lot of commercials, but I don't mind commercials. It's when you take your work and allow it to be like a goof. Like he did Hot Pockets commercials. Set to the song, drop it like it's hot. And he was like, pocket like it's hot, pocket. And I was like, how much money is enough, Snoop? How much? Why not leave some of that shit untouched and pure? Just some of it. Leave some of it all right. You know, but I realized, I think this harkens back to the sort of effect the Kardashians have had on our culture. Because I remember about a decade ago, I was talking to a friend of mine from law school, and he had said that he read a survey among young people, who are probably middle-aged people now, but among young people, they didn't understand the concept of selling out. It was just like, well, you get money. Like, why is that? What's selling out mean? That means you just get paid. And I feel like the Kardashians in the survey was kind of implied that they had an effect on that, because what the Kardashians did was they were like the first entity, it seemed, that like, we're going to become billionaires out of nothing. Like out of, well, not nothing. Our dad will free OJ, and then our sister will make a sex tape that our mom will surreptitiously market. I think that's sort of a degree of sellout. I look at that family and I just think nobody ever, you know, they basically, after crack, I think, were the most destructive thing to the black community in the last 40 years. But it's also weird shit like the younger sister Kylie, when she turned 18, she had like a bunch of surgery to look like Kim. And I thought, does anybody think that's weird? Or is it just hot? Because Liberace once had his boyfriend have surgery to look like him. Now, I know some of you are like, who? Don't worry, there was a movie with Michael Douglas like 5 years ago to get us all up to date. But we thought that was understandably fucking creepy. But when the Kardashians did it, I was like, fuck it, they're billionaires, it's cool. And I just thought, I don't know, it's a little creepy. But I get worried that like, when it will all end. And then I thought to myself, there is one person, one of my favorite artists of all time, Notorious B.I.G., deceased rapper, died. Yeah, sure. Died, he was murdered, and he was 24, making great music. And we obviously lost a lot of music from him based on his untimely demise. But I sometimes think to myself, if he were alive today, we'd probably have a lot more music, but we also might have to live with some negative consequences from that as well. Because you might just be watching TV one day, you flip it on and you see Biggie just going, if you don't know, now you know, DiGiorno. No, Biggie! Who the fuck is this on my Ring door alarm? No, Biggie, stop. Escargot, my cargo ships 2 days free with Amazon. He'd have to lose weight, probably. That would fuck with the eye, baby. Like, you're setting an unhealthy image, Biggie. And he wasn't that big. I think we overestimate how fat people were in the 90s and 80s. I remember looking at pictures of Norm from Cheers, thinking he was like a disgusting blob. No, he'd just be called thick today. But in the 80s, you were like, that guy's a walking heart attack. Then I looked, I was like, that guy's fine. Well, everybody's just on cocaine and rail thin in the 80s. So anybody with like half a gut, we were like, you're gonna die soon. Now people are just oozing out everywhere, and we're like, don't fat shame. But yeah, Biggie would have to lose weight. And what if he turned into like an Al Sharpton? You know, he'd still have like a big Biggie head, but a skinny Biggie body, and you'd be like, no, Biggie's a lollipop now. No, Biggie. And they never caught his killer, which is a travesty of justice. But then every so often, I'm like, what if his killer was from the future? I was like, Biggie, I love your music, but we need to preserve its purity. And you're doing Pizza Hut commercials 30 years from now. I'm sorry. I know, it's rough, but you know, man. But some people aren't selling out, folks. And I'll leave you with this, besides me. Tiger Woods. I know, we talked about him earlier. But I respect Tiger Woods to a certain degree. I know he's got some shit in his closet that's not great. But he didn't sell out, which I like. When the Saudis showed up with their murder golf tournament, which they ironically called Live. So tip of the cap, you murdering motherfuckers. That's some dark humor. Catch MBS at a midnight comedy show somewhere. Like, we called it Live because we kill. But yeah, I don't know. He refused them. He could have gotten all that money. They offered him like $1 billion. And Tiger already has $1 billion. Every other golfer took that fucking money. They were like, hell yeah, I will take that money. And Tiger was like, no, I don't need the money. Like $1 billion will make me twice as rich, but what am I going to do with another $1 billion? I could fuck up my legacy. I could show I have no integrity by taking $1 billion from the Saudis, but now that I have all the money I need, I just want to worry about my legacy. You know, so you have all these golfers that for so many years have been trying to be him, but they obviously can't be him. And Tiger's like, you can't, because I have integrity. Now who wants to go to Denny's and fuck some waitresses? You guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming out.